Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're trying to decode one of the most complicated subjects out there. Basically you, the consumer. We're all being told to save for a rainy day, right? But at the same time, we just keep on spending. So why is that? Let's break it down.
This single sentence from McKinsey just perfectly captures the bizarre, contradictory state of all of us right now. It's this world of financial anxiety, but it's mixed with this real desire to spend. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with that big central paradox, then look at the constant tug of war between saving and splurging. After that, we'll dive into our digital distrust, see which spending categories are weirdly protected, and finally, take a look at what's next for the world of shopping. Okay, first up, let's dig into the core mystery here. Consumer confidence is low, pretty much everywhere you look. And yet, the cash registers just keep on ringing. So why don't our feelings about the economy actually match our actions anymore? This right here is the heart of the issue. I mean, in the past, if people felt anxious about the economy, they spent less. Simple. But that link, it's kind of broken now. We're all concerned about inflation and our futures, but we're still finding reasons and the money to spend on what really matters to us. So let's get into the biggest paradox of them all. This simultaneous push to save money and that irresistible pull to spend it. It's like we're all walking this financial tightrope, and the data shows some pretty fascinating balancing acts. Okay, just look at this number. A staggering 71% of us are bracing for an economic downturn. I mean, that is a huge majority living with this deep sense of financial unease. It's a clear signal that people expect things to get worse before they get better. And yet, here's the contradiction in bright, flashing lights. In the very next breath, a majority of those same people are planning to drop money on vacations. And get this, that number is actually up from last year. It seems that even with a recession possibly around the corner, some experiences are just non-negotiable. So you're probably asking, how are people affording those splurges? Well, they're making really smart cuts elsewhere. The anxiety is real, and it's changing our behavior. People are tracking budgets way more closely, they're cooking at home to save cash, they're cutting back on non-essentials, and they're definitely hunting for bargains at discount and thrift stores. Now, this chart is really interesting because it visualizes those choices perfectly. You can see spending is expected to go up by 8% on things like groceries, which makes sense with inflation. But look at the other side. It's expected to drop a whole 13% for big-ticket items like electronics. And travel? Well, it's down, but by a lot less, which just goes to show it's one of those protected priorities. Okay, next up is a paradox that I think we all live with every single day. We are more connected, more online than ever before in human history. But at the same time, we seem to trust that digital world less and less. And this just illustrates that conflict perfectly. When we want a real recommendation for something, who do we turn to? Our people, our family and friends. And yet, where do we actually interact with them most of the time? On social media platforms, the very places we say we trust the least for any kind of product advice. It's a real head-scratcher. And this skepticism is getting really specific. Most of us are not comfortable with companies using AI on our data. We're actively saying no thanks to new tools like AI shoppers and social commerce, with a clear majority saying they'd much rather just do their research themselves. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. Even if we don't actively trust these platforms, we are so completely immersed in them that their constant presence is unconsciously shaping what we think about brands and ultimately what we buy. So, if we're saving all this money on electronics and dining out, where is that cash actually going? Well, a huge portion of it is being deliberately reinvested into one specific area, our personal health and wellness. This has become a totally protected priority spending category. And listen, this isn't just about going to the gym anymore. It's a much more holistic, complete view of health. I mean, sure, physical fitness is still a top priority for over half of us, but look how close mental health and weight management are right behind it. Together, these three things really define the modern wellness trend. And people are absolutely putting their money where their mouth is on this one. Over half of us have actively changed our diets. Nearly 40% are drinking less alcohol. We're even seeing the huge rise of new pharmaceuticals, with about 9% of consumers now using those GLP-1 drugs for weight management. It seems like the pandemic really kicked off a permanent shift, with a majority saying they've improved their diet and exercise habits for good. All right, let's try to bring this all together. We've seen that today's consumer is careful, but also aspirational. We're digitally skeptical, but we're constantly being influenced online. So, what on earth does this mean for the future of retail? Yeah, the old rules of marketing and retail, they just don't apply anymore. This new consumer is smarter, they're more selective, and they're way harder to predict. You can't just shout louder. To connect with this mindset, you need a completely new playbook, one that actually embraces all these contradictions instead of trying to fight them. So, what does that new playbook even look like? Well, experts suggest four key things. It starts with innovation that breaks old trade offs, like consumers now demand both value and quality. Brands also need to build real, meaningful engagement, not just push transactions. They have to be present in these new AI ecosystems where decisions are being shaped. And maybe most importantly, they have to build trust by making their marketing radically authentic and transparent. And as we wrap this up, it's worth taking a second to ask yourself, which of these contradictions do you see in your own life? Are you the recession-fearing traveler, the digitally skeptical social media user who still gets influenced anyway? Understanding these huge global trends really starts with understanding ourselves. So think about it. What are you cutting back on, and what will you never, ever give up?